Okay. So today we have last two topics to cover off. One is with SQL, that is how to work SQL on SAS specifically, as because SAS is also capable of executing all the SQL queries very similar to the any other database. Because SAS itself can also be considered as a database, we can use all the SQL queries, but there are few limitations. What cannot be executed, what all can be executed, what are the differences in their syntaxes, how to work with them, how to identify. So these are all things we'll try to understand with the concept of SQL. We'll try to cover all the possible things from the SQL onto the SAS. After that, we have one more topic called macros, SAS macros, we can say, which is a concept of reusability. It is a little bit confusing. So what I recommend is the people who are really interested to work on the SAS, I first recommend them to completely work on the base SAS, that is right from first till yesterday's topics. After that, they can work on the SQL part, then they can go to the macros, right? So these are all we'll be completing. Probably we'll try to complete it everything from by today itself. Let's see. If you are fine to go ahead with completing all this, we'll do it. Once after the SQL, you can let me know. Meanwhile, if you're finding anything heavy, let me know so that I can just give a small breaks in between so that you'll be in pace of understanding. So it would be good if we can cover all these both topics today so that next week we can start with the Tableau. Else again, this would extend it to the next week and again that will get changed. But probably the only intention is to make you understand and you're comfortable enough. That is the only intention. So whatever the way it is, just try to let me know what always we can do it. Fine. So now coming to the concept of today's session is SQL. So most of you might be aware of SQL, which is very commonly used as a backend to communicate with any of the databases. SQL stands for Structured Query Language to manipulate, manage, retrieve, store many other things that can be done using an SQL for working with any kind of a databases. So we have many other database applications or softwares like Oracle, SQL Server, MS Access, some open sources we have SQL Server and MySQL, PostgreSQL, Netezza, PostgreSQL, many other databases which are available. But certainly to communicate with these databases, we require a language to it. So one of the language that is required for communicating these databases is SQL, Structured Query Language. So why we got this name is, obviously we have been working from the very first, creating certain tables in a structured manner. So we have a structured tables arranged in the tabular format with rows and columns with specific data types. So that is the major reason why we call it as an structured data. Organizing them all together at a single place or in one particular system or an application or might be a software, we can handle the data very easily on a huge amount. So for that reason, we require these databases. So certainly to manage all that, to make it into a unique way of addressing to any other databases, we require a communication language. For that is an SQL, Structured Query Language, right? So this is like a very basic in communicating with any other databases. So probably who wanted to make some kind of a more programming way, or let's say some kind of a procedures or any other additional concepts could be implemented with an other continuation of SQL is PLSQL, programming language or procedural language. In some other databases we call it as a TSQL, transact SQL, because it's not a query language, it could be a programming language there. So once after someone is interested to move more into the programmatic way, then they can go for the PLSQL. So on SAS, we cannot implement the PLSQL because we completely restrict to work onto the SQL part itself, right? So one who is very new to the SQL, so this is a little bit of understanding. So what all we can do within a database is we can store the data, we can create some kind of a data, we can manipulate it, update it, and make it available with lot many features and functionalities. So to overcome the many problems which came up with the data, like data redundancy, isolation, concurrency, many other. So whatever the problems we had with the data, using the standard way of storing the data from a file-based system, FBS, to overcome all these problems of data, it has been introduced with DBMS, Database Management System. So that particular database management system is used for storing a huge data into it, certainly making them relational so that one can make an access of all the types of data from one to the other, having some kind of a relationships. So the RDBMS has been introduced, Relational Database Management System. So the applications related to that are like Oracle or any other databases which are into the market, right? So which is used for storing the data. So now here SAS can also be considered as an database by itself, but SAS is not only used for as a database because it's very expensive. So it is not only used for storing the data. Probably one of its feature is for data storages also. It can store huge data in it. So why we are calling this SQL using within the SAS as a like advanced SQL? So SAS has its own programming language, but in spite, it can also execute all the SQL statements same as a database, and we can perform all the data manipulations or the data management within the SAS itself. So that's another additional feature SAS has. So that's the reason this particular concept of SQL is introduced as an advanced part of SAS course, right? So now what all we are going to learn is how can we implement all the SQL queries within the SAS that we'll see. So before to that, we have certain concepts for implementing the SQL. We'll try to understand that concept and we'll see the syntactical way of understanding it using onto the SAS, not onto the database. So guys, if someone is really interested to work on the SQL individually, they can install any database like Oracle or SQL Server or any other MySQL or anything, which they can practice all these SQL queries. But certainly the SQL queries which I'm showing you now are to be worked on the SAS programming itself, along with the SAS. And also I'm providing a documents related to all the DBMS, some basic concepts one who wanted to learn from the DBMS is ER diagrams or any other related or to the DBMS. I'm providing all the documentation. I've already shared an email where you can find them out. Even on individual SQL queries are also there. Even they can work with any other databases as well. But here we'll try to work on all the SQL part within the SAS itself, right? We'll try to cover all the concepts related to it. So this is how we'll be going for today's session. So first is, let's see, to work with a database. So database is obviously a huge storage of a data. Certainly any user communicating to any databases, it is like a request reply kind of thing. So user makes a request and replies or response are given from the database, where the communication in between these two would be an SQL, structured query language, to communicate with the databases and to work with the databases. And here we are having a terminology related to the SQL is something like this, where we created tables. In the SAS, we had a terminology related to the tables is data set, variable, observation. But in the databases, we have this terminology. Rather than a data set, we call it as a table, the observations as rows and variables as columns. Here we do also have the column names as fields and individual row as a record or different values from the columns. We call it as a column value, and some unique data. We have a key fields for individual tables, a primary key concept. So we'll understand what all the constraints we have and how to create all that. We'll see one after the other. Okay. Now, whenever we say a structured table, obviously each table consists of its structure along with the data types. So already in SAS, we have worked with only two data types. One is numeric and the other is a character. But independent to any databases, we have lot many data types, which you guys are mostly aware. That is integer, character, double, float, raw double, or varchar. Many other data types are available. But certainly in the SAS, we have only the numeric and character. So what all that differences, how to execute them with the different data types, how SAS is able to consider that data types, we'll see by executing them. Okay. And now the one of the most important part is understanding about the SQL categories or SQL language. So SQL is broadly divided into these five set of language categories. One we call it as a DDL, DML, DCL, TCL, DRL or DQL. So broadly it is into four, but certainly we can say like a DML, DCL, TCL, DRL or DQL can be the same, and even few people even use the retrieval within the manipulation DML itself. So if you guys are aware, it is fine, or else let's understand more how to have these categories to be understood. So DDL stands for data definition language. So what do you mean by definition? Certainly, if a user logs into any database, he might not have any privileges or permissions to work with the data. And if he is supposed to create any kind of a data, he need to define it first. So obviously, at the very first of learning with the SAS, we have done the same thing, creating a data sets of it. So we are defining the tables or the data sets. So defining something onto the databases, we require this category has some kind of a commands or statements onto the SQL. We call it as a data definition, which you are supposed to define it. And certainly once after you create a structure and add a data to it, and we wanted to work with that particular data, you are going to make some kind of a changes or transformations or manipulations. So that particular changes made to the data, we call it as a DML, data manipulation. So these are the two important categories most of the time we work on. And certainly the people who are into the administrative, or let's say who works with some team members or group of members where they require some kind of an additional access or privileges or permissions onto the databases, they require some kind of an additional capabilities or authentications on a database. So that kind of a authentications or privileges are provided by an administrator, DBA. So for that, we require one of the category called DCL, Data Control Language. And certainly, any transactions made to the data. For example, you have updated some values to an existing data, and you have made some kind of a changes to the existing rows of a table, and I wanted to go back to the previous state before I made some kind of a changes, like undo kind of thing. And I wanted to save some data at a point of time. So all these kind of a transactions that you are going to do onto the data can be handled with one other category called as TCL, transaction control. And lastly, as we have all the data within the application or a software, where I wanted to retrieve them using some kind of a query language. So one of the statement we use is a select to retrieve the data. So most of you might be familiar with that select statement, which falls under the category called DRL or DQL, data query language or data retrieval language. So this is the broad set of 5 categories which we have under the SQL. Most of these commands fall under this. Now we'll see what all commands or statements comes under each of them. And a point to remember here is on SAS will be able to work with only two kind of categories. One is DDL and DML. We cannot work with the DCL and TCL because we are not doing any kind of an administrative aspects on this particular application. So certainly, even when installing the SAS, there might be n number of users. So that particular users are maintained by an administrator of SAS. So generally they are called as a SAS admin. So they will be maintaining that. So we don't have these two categories of DCL and TCL working within the SaaS. Okay, so now the first thing which we'll look into is the DDL and DML. So what all statements falls under this? Under the DDL, we have a statement called create. So as I already said you, if I want to define something, we should have something called to create them because it is not existing. We have to define it. So that kind of a definitions can be created onto the databases using a create statement. Let's say I don't have a table. So create a table. So table is nothing but a database object, which is under the databases. A database objects are generally created. So table is one of the database object which we are going to create it. So similarly, we have many other database objects that we can create. Let's see after a certain point of time what all the other objects that we can create. Now creating a table is also an object. So we call it as a database objects. So once that particular table or an object is created, if I wanted to make some kind of a modifications structurally, for example, let's say I've created a table, I wanted to make some changes on a table structure. So what do you mean by structure? I'm creating few columns and I'm going to assign some kind of a data types to each individual field. Now I wanted to add few more columns or delete few one or more columns from the existing table, making some changes to the data types of an existing data set. So all these kind of modifications will generally fall under the structural changes. So that kind of a structural changes can be handled with this particular statement or a command called alter. So under the alter also, we have few sub commands like add, modify, rename, drop. Just try to remember this. We'll work on them, but not all can be executed. At least I'll show you the syntaxes how to work on it. Okay. And similarly, renaming a table, change the name of a table or any kind of a database object that you have created. We use a statement called rename. And we have some other statement called drop, truncate, and delete. We'll discuss this independently. Some already who are working on the databases can give an example about these differences in the statements. Drop, truncate, and delete later on. And next one is one of the category we have called DML, data manipulation, in which we'll work with the data where we have some set of statements that we work is insert to add rows to the data and update and delete. So we'll work on this, which is important for us to make some kind of a manipulations. So that all falls under the category called DML. And the other two categories are we have the DCL and TCL, which we cannot work on to the SaaS, but you can just remember that if any user requires some kind of a permissions or a privileges, generally an administrator will be granting all the privileges to an user. So grant is a command to get certain privileges or permissions over to the database. We use this statement called grant. Revoke is taking back the permissions assigned to a user. And these are some transactional related like commit, rollback, and save point. So commit is a permanent saving of a data. Rollback is undo, and save point is like a transactional way of storing some data. So these are some categories we have. Now let's try to understand them, how to use it, where to use it, and how we can create them. So we'll see one after the other. So here also we have some limitations working with these categories onto the SaaS. We'll try to see what all statements we can execute on it. Right. So before to that, I just wanted to make you know that whatever the materials which I've shared you, you have got a plenty information in it. So there is a presentation on SQL. The people were new to the SQL, they got some documentations related to it. So some database related applications and some kind of a small sample projects related to the databases have been provided. And as an understanding purpose, there are some kind of an assignment related to the ER diagram, entity relationships, and database designs, some solutions and activities, all that have been provided. You can just refer it from this place. Okay, so there is a lot much of documentation, the help, and also the different data sets and lot many queries have been given. So while practicing, this has a huge set of examples where you can work on, taking some kind of a time. Okay, so lot much of examples are there, many things are available, you can make use of it, all this material, right? So this is just for your understanding purpose. Now we'll start working on it, like executing the queries and commands on SAS, and probably we'll also see understanding the different concepts related to it. Fine. So first one we'll try to work on. So everyone can copy the SAS files which I've already shared it to you. So if you can please open it, we'll just parallelly work together. So everyone please copy them from the email, upload it to your SAS Studio or University Edition. Once after you open, please let me know so that we can move it. So just open the first one called DDL and EML with Proc SQL. So once you open it, please let me know. So we'll go one after the other.
Yeah, we can go ahead.
Okay. Right, everyone. So as we've just discussed about it, like working with any kind of a databases, we require these commands. So in any other database, if you start working on it, if you have installed any other databases like Oracle or something, we can work on this individual SQL queries. So to create a table, we generally write some kind of an SQL query. So the very basic SQL queries I'm showing you individually, like create table, some table name. Okay. So the syntax we write is to create a columns related to the table, like column 1, the data type for that, whether it can be a number or integer or anything, and specifically we provide the length of each individual column to store. So whether it could be a character, whether it could be varchar or any number of columns that you create, certainly you can create them. So this is the basic syntax we follow for any database. So many of the databases should end with a semicolon. So for the Oracle, we follow the same. Even in the SAS also, it follows a similar syntax with the Oracle. But for some other databases like MySQL doesn't require the semicolon. Few other databases also. But most of all the syntaxes remain the same. There is a small changes in the syntaxes which you can identify working with the different databases. Right. So Bhushan, can I know which database you specifically work for?
It's SQL Server.
SQL Server. Okay, fine. So under the SQL
I
Server,
worked on SQL Server, MySQL, Oracle, DBase,
okay,
so many.
so many databases you worked on. So fine. Can you please let me know which databases doesn't require a semicolon?
DBase doesn't require.
Okay, MySQL.
MySQL also, it's not mandatory.
It's not mandatory. Okay.
It's optional.
Okay, fine. So can you please let me know why this length should be specified for data type? Is it mandatory or not? Because we have many friends, it's not like testing you or something. Just if you can share that, that would be very easily understandable to someone else. If it is some kind of a discussion, so that would be more helpful for the others, I guess. If you don't
Sure.
have a problem.
We can write for a number we can mention as an integer, int integer.
Okay.
Otherwise, if we want a specific length, we can mention as a number of characters required, or number of digits required, number of 10.
Okay.
Char by default will be taking one character, and we have a number of characters to be defined, max length. Then we can have it as characters 20, character 50.
Okay. So what if I do
and
not
in SQL, if
length? If I do not
Sorry, come again.
specify, if I do not specify the length of this, will it work?
It works.
It works, whether it is with a number, character, or anything.
If it is an integer, it works. If
Okay.
it is a
If it is
numbers,
not
again we need to specify.
okay, what is the need for specifying it? So as you said, like for example, I have something called column 3. I'll specify integer where there is no specific length required for this. Why should we specify this length for individual data types? Any specific reason for that?
See, by default, huge memory will be occupied.
Okay.
So if we give the limitation,
Mm-hmm.
it will exist accordingly.
Okay.
It will not consume more memory.
Right. Absolutely. So can you please let me know one more the last question? So for each data type, how much of memory is allocated by default? For let's say number, character, or varchar, any default length?
I forgot, I think so.
Okay. No
2 bytes, 4 bytes, it depends on
Okay.
data type to data type.
Okay, right. Even it will differ from database to database also. So not
Right.
all databases are having the same type of a length. Okay. As a generic example, I'm giving it. The guys, the discussion which we are just making is, let's create a table name, whatever the table name you wanted to keep it, you can give that. So whatever the number of columns you're going to create, for each column, you're supposed to specify the data type. As already the Bhushan said, it can be integer, it can be a number, and it can be NUM, or it can be character, varchar, or anything. So the one other point which is important is to specify the length for each data type. For integer, it is not required. For the other data types, we require it. The reason for this is, for any specific data type in a database, it gives a default length of storing it. For example, a number can store up to 255 digits. A character can store up to some 2000 bytes of data. So varchar can store up to 4000. So something which differs from database to database, not very huge, but still little changes in this length. Now let's assume I'm going to store a value called 10, which is occupying only 2 digits out of this 255. So when you are minusing from these particular values of -2, so it will be around 253 digits, which are, or whatever the space or memory which is allocated will be wasted, as because you're only using certain space out of it. So in order to restrict this, or in order to overcome this kind of a problem from the data, you are providing some kind of a tentative length, or at least an approximate length that you wanted to store into it. So for that reason, we are assigning these particular spaces onto the table creation. So that's a major reason, right? As already Bhushan said, this will differ, but it will differ not huge differences. Let's say, for example, if it is 255, in the other databases we have 2000 or nothing. So it is a very minute differences you'll have it. So there can be checked from any other documentations of different databases how much of each data types will be storing into it, right? So that's the same syntax.
That is 255 bits you mentioned.
Right, 255 bits.
And what is the difference between number and integer?
Number and integer is nothing but, like, you're talking about a data types, or you're asking
Data type. Is there any difference? Yeah.
So integer by defaultly will take up to, like, it's a dynamic. According to the data, it will be taking it. For example, you're providing a value called 10, 20, 30. So according to which it can adjust. Whereas the number should be specified with a particular length. The length has to be given by default. Without the length, it will not accept it. Whereas the integer will take that.
Okay. The number of
Can I give a better example of this?
Yes, Bhushan.
Integer will be taking only positive values or negative values. It doesn't take any float numbers.
Like the floating point values cannot be taken.
For example, if you give number 10 comma 2,
then it will
so it will take 8 digits dot 2 digits. It will be taking in that way.
Yes.
Number.
Whereas integer will not take all that. No. For example,
Sorry?
you wanted to store a value called 100.25. For example, if this is the value. So when you are specifying this, you will be specifying it as 10.2. Okay. So this can store up to like 8 values, 2 decimal places can be accepted if you are giving the data type like this. This is for the number, whereas for the integers, it will not accept any floating point value, only an integer value will be accepted. So that's the difference in between these two. But also, you have another data type called float. Normally, we generally use a float, then we can use it in this way. So both are same. Whichever you want, you can just use it. Okay, got it? Yes.
In column 1, number 10 comma 2 you have mentioned. So in the 10 means it can give 1 followed by 9 zeros up to that you can
Right.
mention in the
Yes.
query,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yes.
My understanding is that.
Yes. That is what.
And the 2 is for 2 places, that is 2,
2
5, 2
decimal places.
places.
2 5 is a 2 decimal places. But the
Okay.
total width
Then
will
what
be
is it?
10. Total width
The
will be
same
10.
thing can be done through float also, right?
Yes, the both are can be same. Like there are different data types. Whichever the data type you want, you can use it. And it varies from the length that is getting stored. So default here
No,
for the
in
number will
SQL,
be
is there any
255.
something special? Because this data type number, I think I'm hearing for the very first time. That's why this is only for SQL or any particular requirement is there for using this data type in
No, there
SQL?
is no specific requirement as such.
Okay.
It is one of the data type. Like for example, you have a character. If you wanted to store a alphanumerical data type, then you have a varchar. So different data types we can use it. So either of the ways if you want, you can just use it any other data type. And right, as per your
String
question,
also we can
few
use.
databases do not accept a number. It is only taking an integer or a float. And number is not there, or num is not there in few databases. Few databases has this number or num. It's one of the data type to store the numbers.
Okay.
Okay, right. Is it clear now? Yes.
Yes.
Right. So now, how to work with these particular SQL statements within the SAS, because we are working onto the SAS, so we'll stick into that. So here, how we can make use of that. So to execute any of this query, we have to place these particular SQL statements within a procedure of SAS called proc SQL and ending by a quit, not by an end statement, ending by a quit. In between, whatever the SQL queries you execute, everything gets executed as similar as a database, right? So if you see, I'm going to create a table called customer where I have something called ID, name and something. So if I just execute it, you'll get to see a table gets created. So if in the log window, you can observe that a table gets created with that name called customer. Just a second, guys. Yeah, sorry. So fine, you can see there is a table created, but you can observe that 0 rows and 3 columns have been created. So to know the structure of a table, even in the libraries also you see in the my work, like work library, you see there is a customer table got created. So if you see the data types of it, going to the properties, you have the columns created with the default length. Instead you specify 10, numeric will take the default of 8 only. A character with 10 and 20, whatever the length you specified, it will be taking it. So to know the structure of the table, under the SQL, we have a statement called describe. Some other databases will take DESC. So here is we have a statement called describe. So describe table name will give you the structure of a table. So certainly here we can say what is the table got executed, what is its structure can be known with a statement called describe. Okay. And next is, as we have observed that this particular table is empty and which is doesn't having any kind of an rows into it. So we wanted to add some kind of a rows in them using an DML statement or a command called insert. So here we are writing this statement, insert into table name, values is the syntax. So as per the table that what created, will be adding some rows to it. Okay.
So
So here,
how are we saying that it is DML?
which one?
No,
See,
this particular code.
this particular code is nothing but we have the table created now, right? As the table is empty,
Yes.
we wanted to enter some kind of a values into it. So there is a statement required for us to insert some kind of rows into the table. We use a statement called insert. So insert will generally do or work onto the rows. So which falls under the category of a DML.
Okay. So
Okay.
that means in DML we cannot create any table.
No.
So
Knowing this,
all
do
these
not get confused with this DML DDL kind of thing. So very simple is to say,
you said that there are 5 different languages, bro.
not languages, the
DDL,
categories within the SQL, which is
SQL is divided into 5 something. It
5
was
set of
written there.
languages within the SQL itself. For understanding purpose, the 5 set of categories we can say. So all these 5 categories.
Okay. So in the same code, there is a mixture of all these 5.
Yes, all the SQL consists of these 5 categories of programming statement. For example, let's say you have come from some kind of an interview. Like I might ask you on what part of an SQL you have worked on. You cannot independently tell me that I worked on a create table statement. I worked on insert table. I can like you cannot say that update statement. I worked on this statement. Insert, like for example, you might be talking about a category. The category is like a DDL. So in which you have all these commands coming out falling under this. Okay.
Okay.
So when you say that I worked or I have an experience with the DML and DDL, I have not much worked on to the DCL and TCL, something like that, because on together we have a set of all the commands which are falling under that. Right. So that's the reason these bifurcations are made, but specifically you don't see somewhere called DML or DDL or something. So there are certain statements which fall under
At this
this
slide
category.
earlier, I thought that we have a separate code for DDL, separate code for DML, something like
Nothing.
I
So if I
Okay.
keep all the statements together, it will be difficult for understanding. But generally in the SQL itself, there is these categories which someone can easily work out with what statements falls under which one. So for example, if I say insert, it falls under the category called DML. If I say update, it will falls under the DML. If I say alter, it falls under DDL. That's it. So there is no point wherever you don't see anywhere called DML or DDL, something like that. Got it?
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank
you. Right. So now I wanted to insert a table data. That is the syntax we follow here is insert into the table name, values is a syntax. So as you have just observed that I've created a customer table with 3 columns, customer ID, customer name and address. So here I wanted to add a rows to it. So I'm giving some customer ID, customer name and some address, that is a country name. So similarly, I can execute any number of SQL queries under the SAS proc SQL. Normally, if you're working with a database, at a time you can execute only one SQL query. But when you're working with the SAS, you can execute multiple SQL commands or SQL queries together, putting them under proc SQL and quit. So if you just execute, you'll be able to see that it has entered some rows into it. Rows was inserted into that particular table, but you have not specified it to print it. So now you can use a proc print to display the data that got inserted into the table. Rather than we have another category called DRL, data retrieval. Because the data is existing into the table, I wanted it to retrieve it. So how I can do that is using a select statement. So select star, star indicates display the complete table from whatever the table you have just created it. So select star from table name. So if I just execute it, you'll see whatever the rows you have entered, it will be displaying you the table's data, right? So you might have also observed that there is no observation column because these tables have been created from the SQL. So we don't have the observation column created. Okay. And as you can see the result here, the entire table like customer ID, customer name and address is displayed. But certainly if I wanted to restrict the display of certain columns, then I can write it as select the column names from table name. Right. Yes, Basing. See here is just a customer. It can be any name. Instead of writing ID name or something, I just mentioned as seen. It can be a column name. That's it. It can be any column names. Okay. So here I'm writing it as select the column 1, column 2, or any number of columns from table. Only that columns will be displayed. Here we have some SQL statement like this. We are writing it rather than when you're writing with the SAS statement. The same thing can be written with a var. Variable is to display certain columns from a table, right? Next is one other point to understand. While at the time of inserting, we have to provide the enough values to a particular table, which means you have created 3 columns, you are providing 3 values to it. If you give one of the value lesser to that, it will not accept because it is expecting all the 3 rows or 3 values for the particular table. It will not accept the data. So that will give you an error. So if you wanted to enter only a particular values to a table, there is another way of inserting the data into the table. So how do you write a syntax for this is like this. Insert into table name. Along with the table name, you are supposed to specify the column names where that you wanted to enter the data into. And here I'm providing something called only the customer ID and the customer name, leaving the customer address. So this is one other alternative way of inserting the data only to a certain values of a table, excluding some other values of your different columns. So as I said I can do together here, inserting the data and also retrieving the data using a select statement. We can do that together. So here we get it executed like this. Okay, so insert by 2 methods. So if you're working in the databases, you have few other methods like address method or something like that. But here we have only these 2 methods within the SAS. Okay, guys, everyone clear about the statements? We have worked till line number 34. So we have worked with the create statement, describe, insert, select, inserting into 2 types, all this. Right? Everyone clear? Because we have many things to cover. So please make sure that you're understanding everything so that we'll move to the one after the other.
Yes, sir.
All right. Next one. Please come to the line number 39. So now we have a combination of using with the SAS and SQL together. So far we have just only worked with the SAS, that is SQL statement within SAS. Now we'll also make a combination of SAS and SQL together. So we have one other statement of SAS called feedback. So where I'm writing it on the line number 39, if you can see, proc SQL feedback, select star from table name. So what it does, so if I just execute, you'll see that in the log window that it has displayed a query at a backend, which means it is displaying you all the values from one or more tables, which is nothing but showing its structure again. Or let's say it displays all the columns from the different tables. So in this example, it is only one table, but if your data has been retrieved from multiple tables, then the query gets executed showing the different columns from different tables, if any. So for that reason, we have a statement called feedback, which is the option of an SQL that is in the proc SQL statement, which will display the list of the columns in the log window. So similarly, making an advantage not only by using an SQL queries within the SAS, we can also make a combination with SQL and SAS together. Okay, so this is one of the statements.
Sir, I didn't got, sir. What is the use of feedback actually?
See,
The same thing we are getting from select also, no?
No. Select is to display the data, right? When I'm executing this one individual query, it will display as the data.
Yes.
But when I'm using a feedback statement,
Whatever is there in customer, it is displaying using
it is
select.
showing you the column names of a table. This is not the data which is getting displayed. This result is something different, but in the log window, you can see there is a query displayed to you. Select customer ID, customer.cname, customer.caddress, which is nothing but your data is retrieved from these tables. The column names has been shown to you. But only in generally, if you just execute only a select star from table name, it will not show you that. So execute line number 22. Select the line number 22 and execute it. Go to the log window. It is showing which query got executed, but what columns from which table it is not showing it. Okay.
And how it got retrieved, and how it is showing that customer name, customer ID like this?
That is what the
From
feedback is taking. The feedback is
from where it is taking.
where it is in the sense it is an SQL option which will help you to list out all the column names. It
No,
is
but we have not defined the customer name, customer ID. We have defined CID, CNAME like this. No?
right. So here you can see that is what it is showing. Customer is a table name. Customer ID, CID is the column name. Whatever the column names you have created, only that is displayed to you.
Okay.
See, you have executed this query. Select star from customer. You can even see the note statement transformed to, which means it has been changed this query like this, which is retrieving the structure of a table.
Okay,
also.
it is giving column name along with the complete
Table
your
name
data
along
set.
with the column name.
Yeah, table name along with the column name.
Right.
So with in front of each table name, it is giving the table. In front of each column name,
Column
it is giving the table name.
Right. Because this is only from one table customer. Let's say there is another table called order. Let's say there is another table called some transaction. Every time it will be showing you all the different data that has been retrieved from different tables. So that's the use of a feedback statement.
Okay, if we have multiple tables, then it is useful.
Then it is useful rather than if it is only for one table, not much useful, but feedback is one of the option which I wanted to show from this.
Multiple tables with same column names.
Might be from different column names of that particular table which you are retrieving it.
If in the other table we have same column name as CID,
then it will be like it will be.
Then how it will be?
For example, let's say you have now as per your question, for example, you have a table called customer. It is showing like customer ID. Right.
Yes.
For example,
Okay.
you might also have an ID with other table. Let's say there is a table called orders. It will be showing something like this. If you have a table called transaction, in which that you might also have another column name called ID. So now it is showing that it has.
So how it will be displayed?
Sorry.
How it will be displayed, like customer ID,
same thing.
order ID, transaction ID?
Based on the query that you write from the different tables. Normally we have another concept called joins. From that you will be getting it.
Okay.
Okay. So how it is now showing as a customer, it will be showing you this particular column names. That's it.
Okay.
Okay. Right. So next is already we have worked on this particular query 45. Now directly go to this other query called 51, column alias. Okay, so please use the query number, that is like a line number of 51. We call it as a column alias, alternative name. So similarly in the SAS, we have worked on one of the statement called label. Alternative name of a particular column is a labeling. So similarly here we call it as a column alias, alternative name for your column name. So that you are defining it here something like this. Select CID as customer identity, CNAME as customer name, and C address as something. So there are different ways of writing the syntax. So one of the way of writing here is within specifying along with the double quotations. Another way of writing is as column name as something. One other way of writing it is within the double quotations. The third way of writing is if you don't have any spaces, you can even specify it. Either of the way you can specify the alternative name of your column names, column alias, which is nothing but a labeling of SAS. Here we are doing it as a column alias. Okay, so line number 51. Clear? Now coming to the line number 58, which comes to the structural changes to the table. Again, a statement which we use it as DDL, data definition. So here we already have an existing table of SAS. Let's say there is a table name called customer, which we already have a table called customer with us. In that, we have only the three columns created is CID, CNAME, and CAddress, where I wanted to add one more column to the existing table. So this kind of a flexibility, we don't have it in the SAS programming, because once a table gets created, we cannot make or any changes to the structure of a data set using the SAS programming. So to overcome that, we use an SQL. So here the statement we write is alter table name, add column and its data type. Okay. So under the alter statement, we have another sub statement of that call or sub command on that called as an add. We wanted to add a new column to the existing table. So if you see this, we get to see a change happen where you can see that the new column got added called C phone number. A column got added, that's it. C phone number. Even in the log window, you can observe that a new column has been created. Okay, so that's how we can change the structure of a table. So in generally, under this particular category, normally in the SQL, we have four other sub commands after it. One is adding a column, modifying the data type of a particular column, we have a modify statement. Renaming a particular column from one to the other, we have a rename. And there is something called drop. Drop is like a delete. We'll discuss more about these statements once again. Drop, delete, and truncate. So dropping a particular column, we have this. But when we wanted to work with these particular statement onto the SAS, few of the statements doesn't get executed because we don't have some kind of a permissions or privileges onto the databases to make use of or change all these commands. Only the add is working. The modify, rename, and drop are not working onto the SAS specifically. But here the syntaxes which I specified will work with any other version of SAS or any other application of SAS. Okay, to make some structural changes, we require this alter command, alter table name, add or modify or rename or drop can be used for making the structural changes to a specific column or columns in a table. Right?
All these operations are for entire column. If we want to
Right.
perform something on a particular row or record.
Right. That we are coming up next. Because this is on a structural changes, not on a table.
Okay.
Now we are working on to the column. The column comes under one other category where we have this structural, not a structural change, but a data changes that you wanted to make on a table. So we require another statement for that. So coming to this, we have another statement called update to a DML command or DML category. So here, as you just asked, for example, I wanted to print a table's data. So let's say proc SQL select star from the table name called customer, which we just created it. So quit and display it. So we just added one or more line. So this is my data where you can see the phone number column is completely empty. Now I wanted to add a values to the existing table. So if we give an insert statement, what it will do, it will just only insert a new new rows to the table. But if I wanted to make some updations to the existing values of a table, then we require it to update it. So manipulations can have to be happened. So then we have a statement called update. Update table set the column name equals to the value. So if you just execute up till here, the entire column will get updated with the same value for your entire table, which we do not want to do so because each and every data or a row cannot have some repeated values into this. So if I want to do it for only one particular customer or as per as an individual value, then we go with the where statement. So selectively filtering the data, then we want to on a condition based, right? So here I'm updating for customer 100 with this value as a phone number. If you just execute, you'll see that one value got updated for that particular individual customer ID. So conditionally you're updating the values. Okay. So this is a part of
This is the only way, sir.
update is the only statement which you can use it for updating. Yes.
No, condition I'm asking.
Conditions can be
Apart
anything.
from this,
So where expression, if you remember onto the SAS, we have learned about a subsetting. The conditions can be created anyways, like a single expression, multiple expressions, using different operators, all that kind of thing. Based on the requirement, will
suppose here in this tabular column, suppose we don't have CID, we don't have only CNAME, and there are two rows that are same name.
Obviously, both
If
will be
there is a
updated. For example, if I have two Imtiaz, where I have to update it for one, but how do you specify for which Imtiaz you'll be doing it?
yes, that's what.
That's what.
So
So
on
obviously
both it will be updated.
it will be both will be updated based on a condition. But I specified Imtiaz, but which Imtiaz I cannot specify because the name and spell is same. So it will get updated for the both of it. So that's the reason for every table we look after for some kind of a unique values, so that the updations or any other manipulations can be done on the uniqueness, on the unique values specifically.
Okay.
Right? Clear? Till this line number 75.
Yes,
Might be just I've added few lines, so it have been changed in your place. Right. Next one. Line number 75 or 76 for you people. So, okay. So here, now printing the data as per the condition. So filtration. So if you remembered in the SAS, we worked with a concept called subsetting. So where expression, like all the comparison operators, logical operators, some kind of a special operators or something. So you can just use the same expression here, the same syntax for applying that kind of a filtration over the data. So select star from table name, where, and so and so. Right? So the same statement works here, the same expression, the same syntax works here. You can try with all that. Even the other SQL example documents which I've shared, there are many examples related to this displaying kind of thing, filtration of a data. Okay, fine. So here is one example, select star from the data set where age greater than 14. So similarly, we are just using on this. Okay. Next is line number 81. Again, we are making a combination of SAS with SQL. So proc SQL out OBS equals to 5. So if you remember, there is one of the statement of SQL called OBS, observation. Out OBS is like specifying only limiting certain number of rows to be displayed. Limitation. Right. So out OBS equals to 5. So when I wanted to display this particular value, out OBS equals to 5 will be restricting the first 5 rows. So where we can use a combination of again an SQL statement with a SAS statement. Okay. Clear so far, everyone? Imtiaz, all the others were following.
Sir, it's out OBS in the sense it's the number of observations.
Number of observations to be displayed.
Displayed.
For the displayed, your data set remains the same, only the displaying part.
Okay.
Okay. Right. So far everything is clear, guys, up till line number 85 or whatever you have, all the statements. Yes, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Right. Right. Bhushan, I think I have to interrupt you again now.
Yes.
Yes. So can you please give me the difference between the drop, delete, and truncate?
Sure.
One is drop, other is delete and truncate. And any scenario, so that would be helpful for all the others. First,
Yeah. Drop. Drop table name is a syntax. So that if you want to you're creating a table with a create table, and if you want to drop the table, you're doing it by the drop command.
Okay.
And the truncate table will do almost similar to drop, but it won't it just deletes the records in the table but not the structure.
Right. Whereas a drop will delete the complete structure. Delete in the sense drops complete structure where we cannot get back the structure again. Okay. Whereas truncate will completely deletes. Can be undo, or can we roll back the data once you truncate?
No.
Complete
truncate
drop of data with structure. With structure remained. Structure will be there.
Right.
Right. So now delete is?
Delete is somewhat delete the number of records in a table based on a condition we can make.
Delete rows or row or a table data where
structure remains,
where no effect on structure. Right. Okay. Any scenarios?
And here we have one more difference.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Sorry.
Here we have one more difference between truncate and deletes. It's almost delete table, delete from table name. It will delete all the data.
Right.
Truncate table name. The only difference is we can roll back
the
delete statement and get the
rollback can be done.
Rollback, but the
rollback can be done, whereas no rollback for this. We cannot roll back any data with the truncate.
Yes, and here one more statement, one more difference. Truncate will delete all the records.
Right.
In
Not
the
an
table.
individual record.
But delete we can do based on a condition.
Right. One or more rows. That's what I've written. Delete row or rows or table data completely. Right. Whereas here the complete drop of a data, complete table data will be dropped off. Any scenario where you use it in a real time so that others can understand it very easily? Any scenario specifically for delete is very common. Most of them use it. Any scenario for truncate?
Truncate we generally don't use.
You don't use truncate, but then who will uses it? Okay, fine. No issues. Guys, hope everyone understood about these statements. So we have three statements almost very similar. So drop is you can drop a particular column or a columns of a table, or the entire table can be dropped off. So which is a DDL command which completely drops off the entire table where no structure will be left behind. For example, now if I drop a customer table, again I cannot get anything related to the customer table back. But when I wanted to use a statement called delete, you can delete a particular row or a rows or delete table name. If you give it, the entire data from the customer table will be deleted. But if you start creating one more table with the same name called customer, you cannot create it because the structure is already leaving behind, which is there in the database. So there will be no effect on the structure. And one other thing you can do is rollback. Rollback is nothing but an undo. Undo can be done if you use a delete statement. But similarly, there is a truncate statement which can be used to delete or the complete data from a table where the structure remains same. There is no harm in the structure where no rollback will happen. Whereas in the delete, rollback will happen. Here, rollback will not happen. No undo can be done. Right? So in what scenarios generally it is used is, so if you want delete a row or a rows, we use a delete statement. And a programmer or some other manager has created certain tables, but they do not want it to make use for a longer time. So he'll drop it and you do not have any other structures leaving behind. But now there is a scenario that I have created. For example, I'm a manager working. I have given some tables to be created for my subordinates. Let's say like customer 1, customer 2, customer 3. I've created 3 tables for different users. So now these particular users are working on this table, but certainly I've got an important table called customer as a master table in my database. So here I've got added multiple rows in this table, but I just wanted this table to be moved to the production without having any data into that. And I do not want to make any structural changes to this original table called as a customer. So what I do is I'll use a truncate statement to flush off all the data in that permanently, which is not having any effect to its structure. So then we use a truncate statement rather than using a drop and delete. So this is specifically used at higher level or can be an administrator, which is not a common statement to use by anyone else. So that's the reason we have these 3 differences in between the statements, which almost works very similar. Okay, so that is the importance of this statement.
No rollback for drop also.
No rollback. If once it is dropped, nothing will be leaving behind. Nothing will be there at a backend. Okay. Okay. So this is the one other point about the drop, delete, and truncate statements from these categories. Fine. Next one, guys. So there is one way of creating a new variable to a existing table. We can even do so. We're not actually creating a new column, but we can just dynamically assign a column and have some kind of a computations done. So you can see select weight, comma, some manipulation over that, weight into 0.5 as a new column. I'm just creating it as a new weight to store the value after this calculation or whatever the operation you perform. So when you execute it, you actually get your weight column displayed, and whatever the newly manipulated column will have the value stored in this table, which can be displayed. Right? So this is how you can even create a new column from the existing table also. Clear, guys? And next one is one other statement we have called as an removing duplicate values with a keyword called distinct. So distinct is a keyword which can be used for eliminating a duplicated rows or duplicated values from your table. So distinct is a keyword which will give you only the unique values of your table. So select distinct column name from table name. So it will give you only the distinct values or unique values from your table. So distinct is a keyword. Okay. And the next statement, line number 104 for you, just please see that options label. So labeling and formatting variables. So here you have another statement which is again making a combination of SQL and SAS together. So it happened that we have seen an alternative way of writing a column alias, alternative way of writing the column names of it. So here I'm also using a format statement where I'm changing the format of a particular column. So select weight format. I wanted to format it to 6.3 where sex labeled to gender and displayed. So making this combination will help you to change the format of a particular column of the table, as well as the labeling can be done with this combination of SAS and SQL statements together. Okay. So this is one other point where you can make a combination of the statements. And one of the next very important query which we use is line number 113 for me. So sorting the data from an SQL. So in SAS we have used a procedure called proc SQL. So wherein we have something called an order by statement on this. So select the column names from table name. Order by is a statement to give the order of arranging your column. Default is ascending, which doesn't require to specify anything, and descending can also be given, so you can get the ordered table of the data to be displayed. So here I specified age, so I can see the result which is like ascending value. So if you wanted to have the descending, you can use a keyword called descending DASC to have the descending value displayed. So one of the most important statement to sort the data is a order by statement. Okay. Next one, line number 122. So creating data set from the existing data. So I wanted to create the same table copied or replicated, or only few columns from the existing table. We can even do that. So we are writing create table name as select is a statement. As select only few columns from the existing table or the entire columns from the table, whatever you want. If you wanted to make a copy of all the data, you can even do that. So I'm doing it and printing them using a select statement, which we are able to create a new table with only the selected columns, or the entire table can also be copied. That is with one other statement called as select. Okay.
What about the old table, sir?
It is remaining the same. It is already existing. Which is already existing. I'm just wanted to make a copy of a new table with the selection of only few columns or the entire columns. Replication.
Okay.
Replicating without disturbing the old one. I'm creating a new one. That's it. So while you're replicating it, whether you wanted to copy all the columns or the entire table, it is up to us. So the statement we use is as select. So if you write select star from, the entire table is copied, or select only the column 1, column 2 from the table, only that particular columns can be copied. It is up to us. Okay. Right. So already we have seen the subsetting part. And next one is creating a condition statement. So while we have discussed in the SAS programming that if I wanted to use the if and then statements, as I said you, SAS will also accept an SQL statements. So under the SQL, we cannot execute if then statements. If then statement will not be working onto the SQL. So instead, we can write an alternative way of writing this is using an select when or select case operators, we can say case condition. So select weight case, when weight between a condition, then so and so on, else with an alternative value, and as new weight. That is nothing but I wanted to create it as a new column called new weight and store all these values to the based on the condition. Instead of writing a if then, we are writing here it as a select when. That's it. There is no much change. So this is a syntax accepted in an SQL part. Okay. So instead of writing if then, else if, Here we are writing it as select when statements, select if. So that is an alternative way of writing the condition statement. Clear? And the next part is an aggregation. So we have already worked with a order by statement, rearranging the data, whereas we now wanted to group the data, we have an group by statement. So grouping can only be done with an aggregation. So aggregation is nothing but you have an aggregated functions like sum, minimum, maximum, count, average. All these are called as an aggregated functions. Only with the aggregation, you'll be able to group the data. So here I'm writing one of the aggregation of gender. So select sex, count of sex as gender from saself.class group by gender. So what I wanted to find out, what are all the genders in this and what is the count of this gender and grouping them, which means I wanted to see how many males and how many females are there on this table, which I wanted to group by. So with this aggregation of count, I am able to do this using the group by statement. So group by definitely requires an aggregator function or else the grouping cannot be done. Okay. So here is a statement we use this group by. Okay. So one more example, page like a line number 157. Already we have just created a table with only few columns. Even using a condition also we can create a table. So create table name as select few columns from the table where condition again. So only that particular values can be created from the table or for the new table. So that is like only the columns or along with the data we can write up a condition like this. Select table or table names from so and so. Okay. So clear so far, everyone? Up till this? Any questions so far? Because there is one other new topic which comes again. Before to this, any questions you have? Up till this line number 160. Okay. So far we have covered all this DML, DDL. As I said, your DCL and TCL cannot be executed. So I've already shared you one document related to the SQL. This is a complete SQL you have. So if someone wanted to learn it individually, can also work on this document, which will have a complete explanation of all the SQL statements, the different data types, their information, and the syntaxes for all this create. All these have given it. You can even go through it. So if you're specifically working on the databases, I have also given the rollback, update, all the statements information has been provided, which you can go through it whenever you get some time. So I also explained about DCL, TCL, every statement, even the commands also are given to it. Okay. The other one is an operators. Just now we discussed about where with arithmetic operators, comparative, logical, all the operators, which we can use it same on the SAS and even the SQL also. So where statement, where expression with different operators, all that we can work here. Logical operators, special operators, everything. So order by we worked just now, and also the group by statement we worked just now. Okay. So these are all the things we have completed so far. Right. So next topic is about constraint. Guys, do you need any break or should we continue? Do you guys need any break or should we continue? The next topic will be constraints. After that, we'll discuss about
No issues.
joins. After that, we have something called views. Many things are there.
As you wish, sir.
Okay. Just tell me one thing because our schedule is up to 4:30, is it fine that we can continue for longer time?
For how long? Up to 5?
Might be 5:30. Tell me one other thing. After this
Sir, we
SQL,
can complete SQL today and why can't we take macros on next week on
I
Saturday?
guess macros might
On
not be
Sunday,
completed today because we have already like reached 4 p.m. Still, we have
yeah.
extend for 1 hour also. Like maximum SQL will be taking time. So I don't think so. Macros will be covered today.
No, sir, we'll take next week. There is no problem with timeline.
Fine, we'll do that. So today we'll try to complete the skill part. Just give me 5 minutes time. I'll just update it to Uday and get back to you. Okay. Meanwhile, you can
Okay,
take a break. Meanwhile, you can take a break for 5 minutes so that I'll just update the situation to him. Okay. So just take a break for 5 minutes and we'll get back. Hello. Yes, fine, guys. So today we'll finish it off this SQL part. So next week we can have the macros which are updated. Fine. But bossing you said like 4:30. So 4:30, I think it will not be possible. How many of you guys have to leave by 4:30? So that accordingly, which we'll plan it. Any one of you have to leave by 4:30? Because we have still constraints, joins, and some operators we need to cover, views, subqueries. So all this will not be completed within some time. So if you want me to extend today, we'll extend it. If your guys are not available, then we have to plan it some other day.
If we can stop at 4:30, then we'll continue in the next week Saturday, right, sir? We'll complete in the next week Saturday.
Okay.
Is that okay?
I wanted the other guys also. For me, it is anything is fine. But again, please guys inform it to Uday as well, because I have to maintain the schedule also as per this.
For my what I'm thinking, every day
I
we can
didn't
learn
get that one. What were you telling?
Sorry, Imtiaz?
I came just now. I just now joined.
Okay. No. What I said is like we still have 5 more topics or almost 5 more topics to cover. That is constraints, operators, views, joins, and subquery. So which we cannot do it within very less time. So Bhav Singh said he wanted to leave by 4:30. So if can we extend for today's session, or should we stop by 4:30? Is others available or not? Is my question. Anyways, macros we'll be doing in the next week. This week now we cannot do that. So even on the SQL also, if we can extend
For macros, we need one complete day, sir.
Not complete day. That hardly requires 1 hour or 1.5 hour time. Not more than that. That is a smaller one.
Can you complete it by 5 p.m.?
Sorry?
Can you extend? Can you complete it by 5 p.m.? It takes more than 5.
I'm not sure because it's 4:10 now. So we have 5 minutes. But based on understanding, for me, I can complete it. If I just little bit rush, I can complete all the 5. But your understanding is also important. No? So according to your availability, it's the thing.
Then it's better we stop right now.
Sorry, Prashant.
If everyone is okay, then I am okay to extend. So we have to
even I'm also free right now, but what I'm saying, if we are rushing like that, then we'll not understand more better. That's what I'm setting to start for. I'm so sorry to say that.
No, don't.
Yeah, I do agree with Bhav Singh, sir. If we have some breaks, then we can practice. But the thing is like practicing.
Right.
What we are discussing in 2 hours, even 1 week, it's not enough for practice.
Right. No, I do agree. So that's the reason I'm asking you guys. No, so there is no point of asking me whether if I should have continued and completed it. I would have done that because you guys are interested.
So with these documents, what you are sharing, and a number of times we have to listen your lecture again back.
Right.
To understand these things. So it's better we stop right now and we'll continue again next week from here. So that's something from SQL also we will be in a position to ask you in next week class.
Sure, it's up to you. I don't have any